We're going to go over Matic today, as we've seen the massive amount of volatility in crypto in the last couple of weeks, and as Matic has been one of the strongest performers in this bear market, having been only down 64% from its all-time high compared to some of the other coins like ADA and Solana, which are down more than 90% at the lows. Okay, it's shown a lot of relative strength, so it's definitely a coin that we want to be paying attention to. I'm going to mark out the key levels above us and below us so you know exactly where and when you should be buying and how that might also look and play out on the chart. So if that sounds good to you, go ahead and like, subscribe to the channel, and without further ado, let's get straight into it. I see 3 scenarios and 3 good pullback regions for Matic during this bear market. It's going to be a long year, so let's mark them out. Now, the least likely scenario, in my opinion, is we are holding this level over here, and as we flipped this as resistance and now trying to confirm this as support at about that $94 94-cent level and holding at about $1. So far looking good, but we have seen, you know, rejections from this area in the past where we've tried to hold this for a few days and then come back down. So we've still got to give this a little bit more time, and as Bitcoin is looking a little bit overextended, as some of the other alts are, I see that us taking out this high immediately or challenging this high at about $1.30 is probably not the most likely scenario for Matic in the short term. So if we do not basically hold this level of support, I think Matic has 2 key levels below us that we can still hit and actually drop as far as 40% and still be really bullish in this market in this year. Other 2 levels that I'm looking at is going to be this key order block over here at between about 74 and 82 cent, because this is the level that we basically formed a bit of a order block and pattern. And these are the red candles before the up move that breaks the structure of the market. And typically we always know that these order blocks get retested at some point in time. And this seems to me like a more logical and realistic scenario. And that would still mean at some point that Matic might drop another 16 to 20%, really nothing out of the ordinary for a lot of altcoins. And then potentially we maybe move up higher. So if we don't manage to see support here at 94, my next level that I'd be interested in would be about 79 cent, 80 cent. It's also a strong level of horizontal support. As you can see here, we've had multiple wicks at multiple times during the last year at about 72, 80 cent for Matic. So you can see why this is a level that you want to be paying attention to. And because Matic has shown such relative strength in this bear market compared to other coins, for me, this coin can actually come all the way down to this order block over here, okay, at about 61 to about 44 cent. And you can see that even within these, we've got some areas that, you know, could potentially be targeted. So that's what I'd be looking at for Matic. And even if Matic fell all the way down 41%, 45% this year, I still think that Matic is going to look pretty good. And you have a look and, you know, have a look at, like I said, this horizontal support zone. You know, I wouldn't be surprised, you know, that a lot of these untouched order blocks, okay, that they're the ones that I'm looking at the most, okay. You know, they do tend to get tapped at some point, you know, during these cycles. And they tend to be magnets for price. So if we come down here, you know, we might form some kind of deviation and basically come back in here. So if you see something like this as well, and we do tap into this order block at some point this year, then I would look for Matic, you know, to maybe see a little bit of a bounce. And if you see this close back into here, into this range that we break down from, potentially, if we ever were to go down that low, okay, again, that would be like a really nice buy. So that to me would make a lot of sense. So you've got the ultra bullish scenario at 95 cent. You've got the next most likely scenario, which for me is probably the most likely, at 77 cent, and then the one below that, which is if we basically continue down trending in this crypto market this year, especially in the altcoins, if they continue to show more weakness, then 60 cent, 50 cent for me would be a really nice buy zone for Matic. And you can see on the weekly time frame that this looks really clear, and you know, it just makes sense that, you know, a lot of the liquidity just down below here at 72 cent is probably going to come in at about 55. But the absolute worst case scenario that I could see is that if we lost this low at 31, which does not seem very likely at the minute given the strength that Bitcoin is in, because we've seen, this is why I mark out key order blocks, guys, right? Look, you can see that this is the cluster of price action. This is the red candle before the up move that broke the structure of the market. We come down and retested it perfectly, and we do have another little area just over here below this one. So the next order block would come in at about 25 to about 22 cents. So if we took out 31 cent, I just want you to be aware that that is probably like a worst case scenario for Matic, and it probably wouldn't stay there for very long. So with that said, let's take a look at some of the key order blocks above us, and the most obvious one that I can see that has not been tested, which is the ones that I tend to look at, okay, and are the most obvious ones and magnets for price, is going to be this level over here, in my opinion, which is about 1.54 to about $1.7. You can see that a lot of these other peaks that we've had in the past, you can see that the market moves in waves, and this is why I trade with order blocks, because you can see it basically gives you the flow of the market back into another order block moving down, okay, so forth and so forth. And you can see that just with a keen eye that this is one area, a little bit of a void here, fair value gap, okay. If we were to break that 130 mark on Matic, and interestingly enough, if you have a look at the uptrending support line over here, you know, that also might coincide with the time for Matic. So, you know, if we just take a look at this 164, 170, you know, maybe we get there in February if it continues to have some really rapid and impulsive move. That would be the highest price that I could see Matic go in the short term. Other than that, I'll be looking for the other levels to pull back on for longs. Do not be buying, in my opinion, here after a 40% pump, right? If you haven't learned before, you know, how these altcoins work, they can move very volatile in both directions. This market is obviously going to be somewhat dictated by the strength of Bitcoin, so, you know, you want to be keeping an eye on that. So long as Bitcoin holds 20k and doesn't break back down into the range at 17.5k, Matic has been one of the strongest performers in the last year, so why not that Matic basically continues to show strength this year? As we are in a bear market, we still have to be aware of some of those downside targets and how that might look for Matic. And if you actually zoom out on the monthly scale, you can see that, you know, we retested this area at 1.26, and who's to say that we have to move higher from here, because we're actually, this month, we still have about halfway through the month to go, another 15 days. And so far, we haven't really been able to get a close in that dollar mark. So it would be really significant if we can close at about $1 this month. So we have to wait and see how that forms. And if we close here at about $1, that does open the possibility of, like I said, challenging 1.3 and moving up to about 1.6 for Matic. But if we close down below here, we could start forming a potential little bit of an ugly head and shoulders pattern here, okay. Something like this, potentially, like I said, because we have no evidence so far that we can close any of the monthly candles above $1. So if we do close back down here in the range at about 87, 83 cent, and we start to create a bit of a wick here, okay, and we basically deviate something like this, okay, then, you know, that would be on the cards for a move to the downside. And actually, if we did get some kind of break from here, okay, and we got some kind of measured move to the downside and we broke down, that would still put us within the order block that we're talking about, okay, where our stop loss would basically be, you know, somewhere at this level if we broke down. So that, for me, like I said, is probably the most likely worst case scenario if we don't manage to actually close at about $1 this month. So let's wait and see how things play out here. This is how to be one step ahead of the game, is mark out all of these key levels, all of these different scenarios. And again, remember, if you want to actually make money in this market, you do have to pull the trigger and you have to buy at certain zones and have your certain negated levels, okay. So just mark these out and take these as they come. I hope you got some value from this video, and I've marked out some key levels for you so you know exactly what scenarios to look out for and where you should be buying and selling Matic for the remainder of this year. And remember that taking action is the most important thing in actually making money in crypto. So when you reach some of these key levels, take action. Otherwise, it doesn't mean anything. Until next time, like the video, subscribe to the channel. More videos coming out this week. Peace out.